On today's episode of Watch JCW Aero, we are back in the shop with the engine and transmission, the dead transmission from my Mini Cooper John Cooper Works. And today, we're gonna put a new transmission on the subframe, bolted back up to the engine, and then get this all back into the car and hopefully drive it, because when one thing shuts down, another thing's gotta start up, and that needs to be this Mini Cooper. What is going on, guys? I am Watch JCW Aero, and like I said, this is my 2012 John Cooper Works R56 Mini. And I am super excited to drive it because I've never gotten to drive it even a single time. We bought it with a dead transmission. We've never, it used to start, but we've never been able to drive it at all, and I cannot wait to make this thing move. So today's mission, of course, like I said, is to get the transmission off the engine. So first we have to pull the CVs out of here, which means pulling this bracket off right there and then getting the CVs out of both sides of the diff right here. And then we can unbolt the transmission. The starter's got to come out as well. There's quite a few things that have to get unhooked on this engine here, and then we can move on to unbolting the transmission, hooking onto it, and pulling it off of this engine and this subframe. So this shouldn't take terribly long, but then again, it's not exactly the fastest job either. The aux coolant pump's on a bracket that mounts on the transmission as well, so you gotta unbolt that and then make sure you get it all bolted back on. So there's quite a few things that have to be done in order to get this job completed, but at the same time, it's really not the end of the world. It's just 20 bolts and a bunch of time. All right, our first order of business here is digging the starter out of here, and obviously a lot of modifications have been done to this car over the years, and things aren't hanging in the right places, like brackets and stuff like that. So, helps you go the right way here when you're backing off these nuts. There we go. Get our battery cable off here, disconnect our actual starter solenoid power right there, and then we can take off the bracket that somebody has mismounted the last time this engine has been out. It's definitely been out before. There are a lot of signs in here that all add up to that. So then we'll grab some E-Torx, it looks like 8s, and pull out the 2 bolts on this side, and then there's one 13 hiding all the way over here under the intake, basically. All right, there we go. The old starter is out, and it looks usable. Teeth look okay. Next up, we gotta get the CVs out of here, so we're gonna start with these 2 big bolts on the bearing that supports this thing, and then we should be able to slide this CV out, and then we'll pry away and wiggle out the driver's side CV. Whoever put the bolts in this CV mount really loved us, because you can tell they filled it with red Loctite, top and bottom, to the point where the bolts would not even come out. But hey, she's loose now, so a little wiggle, this should pop right back out. So we mentioned in the last video, both CVs are new on this transmission, and I do want to mention this one seems like it came out a little easier than it should have. I gave it like one little bump with the pry bar and it came right out. So without damaging the oil seal spinner there, let's give it a little bit more pry. Let's see what we find here. So far that CV is still looking pretty new. I don't see any shredded teeth or anything like that on the splines, so I think we're gonna go ahead and just pop that on out, and hopefully it's the right size. I really wonder if somebody put the wrong size CVs on the trans. Well, they definitely didn't go down without a fight, but both CVs are finally disconnected here. So we've got both sides out, which means it's time for us to actually go ahead and pop the transmission itself off. I did go ahead and pull the 8mm bolt that holds the auxiliary water pump onto the oil filter housing there. It turns out you might not have to do that, but I would go ahead and get this off here, because if you break the auxiliary water pump, well, it's not gonna be a good time. So just pop that off. It takes 30 seconds and you'll have it out of your way so you can slide the transmission right off the end. Well, the old transmission is off and I have some bad news. I turned the input shaft and the outputs turn. So I'm really not sure what is going on with this thing. What I do know is we're gonna have to get in here and count all the splines, look at literally every single thing in here. But what I can tell you so far is it's got a brand new clutch in it, which is probably why the engine was just out. The clutch is dated 2021 and it doesn't look like it has a single mile on it. Look at it, it's perfect. No clutch dust or anything. That is super scary. So there's the date on the clutch. The 27th day of January 2021 is when it was built. Made in France. There's like no wear on anything. It even looks like the clutch might have been properly aligned when they put it in. So all of this is looking very scary because when we had it running, there was no output through the transmission. Did they get the clutch wrong or something? Is this transmission actually trash? Which that is the hope, that the transmission is trash. I think what we need to do here is shift through every gear and turn the input and see what we come up with.
A few minutes later.
Well guys, Eric showed up just now and he reminded me that the thing this transmission was doing was it would like try to engage a gear and you'd feel it try to like bump the car forward and then it would quit moving. So we do think there's like broken gears inside this. And of course, we also found when we were looking at this car originally, the fill port plug was completely missing on the transmission. So it probably blew all of the oil out of it and killed itself while they were driving it. That's what we hope is wrong with it. Because I'm a little worried that when I turn the input, I get output at this point. But it probably is broken if you load it up. We're just not 100% sure what's going on with that. So we've got the new transmission over here, and it is time to put the new transmission in the hole. And I did check the clutch. The clutch is brand new. It's not smoked. If it was a clutch issue, I think we all know that this would be covered in clutch dust. And unfortunately, well, fortunately, it's not. It looks brand new. So all this work happened and it probably never moved 1 mile after that. I don't think they mentioned anything to us about replacing all of it either. So that's pretty crazy.
He also wasn't much of a mechanic, so I don't know what he really knew.
Well, that's true. You know what? I don't think this weighs that much, so I might be able to just cheat. There we go. That's high enough.
You're gonna hurt your back.
It was pretty stupid. My back hurt immediately.
Need one of them bacchiotomies?
We gotta get the old bacchiotomy coming. Ordering.
That's really why we're quitting working on cars.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
We're tired of all of it.
No doubt. Well, parting them out at least.
Yeah, part of them out.
Yeah.
Then we only work on them Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
Is that like the DMV hours or something?
No, I don't. I have no idea, but those are our hours.
Okay. Stop.
Stop.
Okay, come on down.
Coming down. Down. More down.
Hold on.
Okay. So she's on the stand, but we have to get it on the alignment pins.
Bolt it on there. Should be pretty easy, honestly, because the clutch has fresh grease on it, the spline's there and everything. As long as the spline count's the same, I forgot to count. But I do think it's the exact same trans, so this should just drop right on.
We'll be back.
Well, there we have it. The transmission's on, the starter's on. We put the brackets back that weren't quite fitting. If you can see that bracket under all those hoses right there. A lot of that stuff wasn't properly on from the last time it came apart, so we put all that together and now it's ready to go back into the car. And also we spun this thing around a ton to make sure the diff and the input through the engine, everything's working. There's one of the clips for the cables that go on there. We'll put it back in neutral and we're ready to slide this thing into the Mini. So let's get to it.
Many minutes later.
Well guys, we skipped a lot of the drama, but the engine is back in and the subframe's bolted in and we are tightening up all the bolts. So we just finished getting the brakes back on. There was a bad brake sensor on here, so we already swapped out that brake sensor just now. Somebody was just, look at that, the wires were pulled out of the brake sensor. And that was obviously before we got the car. We are getting everything back in. The suspension bolts are started, even though they have to come right back off because we have a strut tower brace. So we're gonna go ahead and lift this thing up in the air and start hooking everything up right now. Our goal here is just to quickly fire this thing up and verify that the transmission and everything actually works. So we're not gonna put everything back together to start with, we're just gonna put most of it back together to start and then work from there. A lot of things need tested before we fully commit to this, but I think we're close. I think we're very close. So putting it back in here, it's really no big deal. It's on the hydraulic table, of course. We just jacked it up and then swivel the table till it lines up and go from there. Also, somebody put the wrong bolts on the engine mounts, so we fixed all that. A lot of fixing had to happen as we put all this back together. So I'll update you guys again in about 15 minutes when hopefully everything's hooked up on the back of the engine, fuel, evap line, and the radiator hoses. And I already hooked the clutch up, so we're making good progress. I want to go ahead and get the steering rack hooked up because the car is super upset without a rack. And then of course we have to route the power back up into the battery bay because we pulled all of the power cable out to do this job.
Should move.
Should move. Been another 20-30 minutes. We've got the battery back in. Eric finished up all the wire routing and getting all that back in place. We got the intake back on, at least temporarily. Now, unfortunately, we do not have the boost crossover tube and the intercooler and all that. That's all in the front clip, but we do want to start this before we just send it. So we're gonna go ahead and start it, get it in the air, and make sure the transmission does what it's supposed to do, and then we'll move on. We're only gonna let it run for a couple seconds, but then we'll move on to buttoning up the rest of the car. There we go, that looks pretty good. You wanna start it or you wanna record it?
I wanted to make that noise.
The key's probably in the center console. Hopefully there's battery power. Got some lights, and we got a dome light. And the key's in the cup holder. Good, that's good. We just got the steering wheel, the column hooked back up to the rack. Come on, make noises. Where's it? Doo-doo-doo. Well, push the button. Let's see what happens. Hey, oh, we have no clutch because I have to bleed it. It's hydraulic.
Okay,
But it'll still hit the switch, yes. Go ahead and shift through every gear first. I do want to see. Okay, that looks like 5th and 6th.
5,
Yep.
4,
Yep.
3,
Checks out.
2, 1.
Cool. All right, good enough. Start it. Woo, she's loud. Did you shut it right back off?
That died.
Oh, it died? Start it again. I'm sure it's super upset.
Hold on. Oh, it's got enough gas. Okay.
Yeah, I figured it should
Well, I always get confused because it's not. It's over here and.
be. Yeah. What could she be that mad about? I mean, because it has a math, but it doesn't have the crossover tube.
Oh yeah, because it's engine malfunction.
Power off. Okay, now start it. Mathless.
Dude, Robert, I touched it, but barely. I think it was just. All right. Yeah, go ahead and put it first. First? Yeah. Spinning? Yeah. It was spinning, then it stopped.
It spun for a second and stopped. So start it in first and then let the clutch out.
That's not good. Yep, we're good. Sure, clutch it down. Push the brake and see if the engine dies.
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
I was not expecting.
I said push the brake and see if the engine dies.
Yeah, but it's been a minute since I've been in a manual. So I was like, car blew up. That's what it just.
Perfect. I just wanted to make sure, because we were super worried about the diff and the CVs, and if the engine just stops like that, it's perfect.
Yeah, but it's been a minute since it's been in a manual.
Yeah, it's a heck of a thing when they just die.
Yeah.
Woo! Success, guys. What a bunch of work.
You said you want to go to 6S?
Yeah, let's go get some steaks.
I already have them.
Man,
I don't think I could eat 2 in a day.
we got this done. It's time to eat steak.
It is time. It is steak time.
And one of the exhaust brackets wasn't on. We got to stick that back on. So.
Okay.
Let's wrap this thing up. All right, guys, there are a lot of stupid things that were left over on this from, you know, previous builds. And one of the most terrible things was the boost gauge that had that plastic. Where'd it go? Did you throw it away?
No, it's over there behind the money case.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
The electronics case?
The money case, yeah.
The money case. So they had this boost gauge in there, and it does work, but they didn't have the light, and it was just rolling around on the dash. And also this was cracked in like 3 places, the little plastic supply line, because they ran it through the door, right? So this was really bad. I'd love to have a boost reference, but at the same time, unless we put like gauge pillar pods in and all that fun stuff, there's just no call for this. So Eric yanked it out, and I was like, dude, let's bail on it. So instead of hacking all this back in, we have to remove all the hacky things they did to pull it off. And for some reason, there's 2 different cuts into vacuum lines, and they're teed off. And what we're gonna do right now is grab some vacuum tees and fix all of this. So there's one of them, and then we're gonna put the factory clamps back on. Actually, it looks like a factory clamp, but you know, it doesn't even make sense that it's here, so it's got that going for it. All right, cool. So we have to set up the other one before it goes on, because they also, oh, I see, they put an adapter on here. Ah, so the MAF should be just bolted right into the intake, but they have this stepped up adapter that has an output where they were getting their boost reference, or at least their vacuum for the gauge, basically. So we're going to cap that with a vacuum cap right now, which means shoving the cap on there and then putting on this clamp that hopefully does not come off after, you know, under boost. But it was held on with a zip tie before, so I don't think it's gonna come off. All right, there we go. So we got rid of all the stuff they'd done. I think everything's good back here, and we're basically ready to put the front end on, and then we can go drive it. So that was the end of our cleanup for the day. This is some of the stuff we just took out. This went into this. So you know that was probably leaking and causing problems. At least now we just fixed all the vacuum problems that would have become bigger problems in the future. Everything's hooked back up, MAF's back up. So I'm gonna sort out a bunch of little things that still need done off camera. And tomorrow we're gonna put the front end on. I know it's unfortunate, but there's an hour and a half to 2 hours of work left before this thing is completely back together. And I also have to go find a few O-rings for the refrigeration system, because some of them were just missing. Whoever worked on this last just didn't care at all. Anyway, that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop.watchjrgo.com for cool shirts just like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I will talk to you next time. Eric wants those steaks, you know, we gotta go. I don't want
I want to show the people this.
What? Oh, the beautiful exhaust work. They've already seen it. We talked about that in the first video.
You're gonna fix that.
I'm gonna leave it alone. You know what? It probably sounds good.
It didn't sound bad, but it doesn't count as pops as bangs. Come from this side and record. Like, you couldn't have cut a worse hole in it.
Oh yeah, they did cut the worst hole.
At least cut a symmetrical hole.
The thing about this that bothers me, I don't care about their dumb hole. The fact that they didn't put exhaust hangers back is what kills me.
Oh yeah, and the magnificent welds.
Yeah, the fence pipe.
That's probably
It is his fence pipe.
It lasted 1 day before it looked like that.
That's right.
Well, you know, at least it's almost straight.
Yep. All right. Whole lot of stuff to hook up still. And we'll be at it for a few hours.
On the whole back roads.
Baby,